My stepmother ripped my script apart. Why was everyone crying except her? Why did my father's body go straight to cremation without a wake? Why did my relatives rush in like vultures instead of mourners? Why did my stepmother sit on the couch, legs crossed, counting money while the ashes were still warm? Why did I see words floating in the air when no one else did? Who was writing my life? Like a cheap drama? Was I the heroine, or just disposable filler? If I followed my aunt and uncle, would I survive? If I stayed with my stepmother, would I disappear? And if those comments were right, what exactly was waiting for me at the end? My name is Evelyn Moore. My father remarried less than a year before he died. My stepmother's name was Vivian Carter. In Riverside Heights. That name carried weight. Not respect. Fear. Rumors. Whispers that followed her into every room like a bad smell. People said she was cold. Said she was ruthless. Said she had buried 2 husbands. Before my father. Said she didn't cry when men died, only when bank accounts froze. They called her a black widow. I used to watch her from the shadows of the hallway late at night. She moved like she knew exactly how much space she owned. Straight back. Calm eyes. A kind of beauty that didn't ask permission and didn't apologize. I understood, then, why my father married her. Even with the rumors. Especially with them. On the day my father died, women I had never seen before showed up with children who looked suspiciously like him. They cried loudly. Too loudly. They demanded DNA tests. They demanded inheritance. They demanded justice. I stood behind a marble column, my hands shaking, my throat dry. I couldn't cry. I just watched Vivian. She sat on the sofa as if attending a meeting she'd already won. She signed the cremation papers immediately. No hesitation. No discussion. By the time people realized what she had done, the body was already gone. Someone screamed at her. Are you even human? He just died. The body isn't even cold. Vivian lifted her wine glass, took a slow sip, then looked up. I checked, she said calmly. It was cold. The room went silent. If you don't believe me, you're welcome to check it yourselves. She tilted her head slightly. Or would you like to split the ashes? A souvenir, perhaps? People lost their minds. Screaming. Cursing. Calling her a monster. Security escorted them out one by one. When the doors finally closed, Vivian poured more wine and muttered softly. Almost to herself. Well, that was profitable. Then she looked at me. Too bad I picked up another burden. My stomach dropped. And then it happened. Words appeared in the air, translucent. Scrolling like comments on a live stream. Wow, straight into the plot already? Here comes the abusive relatives arc. They're going to sell the heroine into the mountains. Don't worry. The male lead will save her with true love later. My head spun. Heroine? Male lead? Sold into the mountains? Before I could process anything, the doorbell rang. My uncle Richard Moore and Aunt Melissa Moore arrived, faces red, voices soft, arms open. Oh, Evelyn, Melissa sobbed, hugging me. Your poor thing. Both parents gone. How can a child survive alone? Richard patted my head. Gently. Come with us. We're family. We'll take care of you. They sounded sincere. Almost convincing. I was about to nod. More words flooded my vision. This is it. They're fake. They want the money. She's going to be trafficked. Classic tragic heroine origin story. My legs went cold. I looked at Vivian. She stood by the window, hands in her coat pockets, watching everything like a chessboard. She didn't stop them. Didn't encourage them. Just waited. Melissa grabbed my wrist. Go pack your things. We'll leave now. I tried to pull back. Richard slammed his hand on the table. That's enough. Stop being difficult. Melissa dragged me toward the door. I started crying. Then Vivian spoke. What do you think you're doing? Her voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. Melissa froze. Vivian stepped forward slowly. Trying to steal a child from my house? That sentence snapped something in me. I ripped my hand free and ran to her. She instinctively leaned back as if avoiding contact. I stopped short, hands shaking. Then I whispered, barely audible. Mom, I don't want to go with them. It was the first time I'd ever called her that. Vivian froze. Something flickered in her eyes. Surprise. Maybe irritation. Maybe something else. Richard reached for me again. She's just upset. She belongs with blood relatives. Vivian didn't look at him. She looked at me. Think carefully, she said. If you stay, you're my daughter. I swallowed. And you'll have to take care of me when I'm old. I nodded. Vivian turned to them, eyes cold. She doesn't want to go. Richard tried to argue about inheritance. Vivian smiled thinly. Oh, there's plenty, she said. Just not for you. Security removed them. More comments appeared. The plot changed? Evil stepmother keeps the heroine? She's definitely planning something worse. Wait and see. I stayed. And that decision shattered the script. Why didn't Vivian block my number the moment the door shut? Why didn't she ship me off to some nice boarding school and call it charity? Why did the house feel colder with food in the fridge than it ever did when it was empty? Why did the staff look at me like I was a stain they couldn't scrub out? Why did the comments keep showing up like a second set of eyes inside my skull? And why did I start feeling safer the moment I realized Vivian could ruin people with a phone call? I tried to become invisible. Not metaphorically. Literally. I learned the floorboards that creaked. I learned which hallway lights took a second too long to turn on. I learned when the maids did their rounds so I could move like a shadow between them. I stopped running water too long. Stopped opening the pantry when anyone might hear. Stopped speaking unless spoken to. I slept with my shoes nearby. Because if Vivian changed her mind, I wanted to be ready. Because if my aunt and uncle came back, I wanted to be ready. Because if the comments were right, I wanted to be ready. The first week after the funeral, I ate whatever I could find without being noticed. Cold dinner rolls. Soggy cereal. The last slice of deli turkey that tasted like plastic. Sometimes nothing. Sometimes water until my stomach stopped screaming. The staff ate first. Always. They left scraps like offerings to a stray dog they didn't want to adopt. One afternoon, I slipped into the kitchen, quietly, like I'd been trained to break into my own house. I opened the fridge. A container of chicken bones stared back at me. I reached in. A voice cut through the air behind me. What are you looking for? My hand jerked so hard the container rattled. I turned slowly. Vivian stood in the doorway in a black blazer and heels like she'd just stepped out of a boardroom. Sunglasses still on. Lipstick perfect. Like grief had made an appointment and she declined. I swallowed. Nothing. I said. I already ate. Her head tilted. Did you? She said. I nodded too fast. She walked past me, opened the fridge, stared at what I'd been staring at. She lifted the container of bones with 2 fingers, like it offended her. This is what you ate, she said. It's fine. I said. I'm used to it. Vivian slowly set it down. She removed her sunglasses. Her eyes weren't soft. Not even close. But there was something sharper than anger in them. Something precise. Used to it from who? She said. I hesitated. It felt dangerous to answer. But she was already watching my face like she could read the truth off my skin. My dad, I started. Say it. Don't say it. Say it or you'll regret it. She's testing you. This is the setup before she throws you away. The comments poured in. I clenched my hands under the counter. My dad wasn't around. I said. He brought me here because he had to. The staff saw he didn't care, so they didn't either. Sometimes I got leftovers. Sometimes I didn't. Vivian blinked once. Then she said something under her breath that sounded like a curse. And for the first time I realized she wasn't pretending not to care. She turned and walked out of the kitchen. I stood there, frozen, waiting for the punishment. Instead, 10 minutes later, the entire household staff stood lined up in the living room like they'd been arrested. Vivian stood in front of them with her arms crossed. She looked at them the way rich people look at an ugly invoice. Let's get one thing clear. Vivian said. If you can't do your job, I can replace you with a teenager who needs college money and has a better attitude. Nobody spoke. Vivian pointed at me without looking back. This is Evelyn, she said. She is my daughter. The word hit my chest like a blunt object. My daughter? She just said it out loud. Does she mean it? Is this a trap? Is this worse? Vivian's voice didn't change. If I hear that she ate scraps again, you won't be fired. Vivian said. You'll be gone. A maid's lips trembled. Yes, ma'am. Vivian's eyes slid. To me. Evelyn, she said. Look at them. I looked. My throat burned. Tell me who's been cruel, she said. Point. My hand shook. If I pointed, they'd hate me. If I didn't, I'd stay. Hungry. If I lied, Vivian would know. The comments screamed like a warning siren. Choose wrong and you die in episode 3. The heroine always hesitates. Then she gets hurt worse. Point. Point. I raised my finger. I pointed at 2 people. Then another. Then, finally, one more. Vivian nodded like she'd just confirmed numbers on a spreadsheet. Good, she said. The next morning, those 4 were gone. No dramatic scene. No goodbye. No apology. No explanation. Their names were never said again. And then something even stranger happened. A group of college students showed up. They were loud and bright and awkward and respectful in that way people are when they're terrified of messing up in a rich house. They wore matching polos that said Bright Hand Staffing. They asked me what I liked to eat like I was a human being instead of a problem. Vivian watched it all with the satisfaction of someone who'd just found a cheaper, better supplier. One of the students, a guy with freckles, whispered to another. She's not kidding. She's scary. Vivian heard him. She smiled. You're hired, Vivian said. The house transformed overnight. The floors shined like mirrors. The air smelled like lemon and expensive candles. And the food. The food was unreal. Roast chicken with crispy skin. Mac and cheese that actually tasted like comfort. Vegetables that weren't boiled into sadness. Fresh fruit. Warm bread. Real butter. The first time I sat at the dining table, I couldn't move. Vivian sat across from me with her phone in one hand, scrolling like nothing in the world mattered. A plate appeared in front of me. My stomach clenched. I stared at it like it might explode. Vivian didn't look up. Eat, she said. I can't, I started. Vivian tapped her screen, still not looking at me. You can, she said. And you will. I picked up my fork like it weighed 100 pounds. My hands were shaking. Vivian finally looked up. Her eyes narrowed. What? She said. I don't want to waste it. I whispered. Vivian leaned back slightly. If you don't eat, they'll think I'm starving you. Vivian said. That should have sounded selfish. But it didn't. It sounded like she was giving me permission to live. I took a bite. Then another. And then I ate like someone who didn't trust the next meal would exist. I tried to slow down. I couldn't. Tears dropped into my mashed potatoes before I could stop them. Vivian's mouth twitched. Don't cry at my table, she said. I wiped my face fast. Yes, ma'am. She reached out and shoved the bread basket closer. Keep eating, she said. You look like a gust of wind could take you out. The comments flooded in. Again. She's feeding her up. She's fattening the heroine. Higher resale value. Classic setup. This is the calm before the cliff. My stomach turned. That night, Vivian stood in the doorway of the small bedroom I'd been shoved into since my dad dragged me into this mansion like luggage. She looked around like she was inspecting an abandoned kennel. This is a closet, Vivian said. It's fine, I said quickly. I don't need. Vivian cut me off with one raised hand. You're moving upstairs, Vivian said. My heart stuttered. Upstairs meant her floor, her space, her rules. Upstairs meant I'd be closer to her. Upstairs meant I wouldn't be forgotten. Upstairs also meant I wouldn't be able to hide. I nodded anyway. Yes, ma'am. Vivian's gaze sharpened. Don't call me ma'am, she said. It makes me feel like I'm about to sue someone. I blinked. What should I call you? Vivian paused like the word got stuck. Then she said it anyway. Mom, Vivian said. My throat tightened. Mom, I repeated. Vivian's jaw flexed like she didn't like the feeling of it. Good, she said. Pack your stuff. Upstairs, my new room smelled like clean Sheets and quiet power. It had a real bed, a desk, a lamp, a door that locked, a bathroom with fluffy towels. Vivian leaned on the doorframe, watching me stare at everything like it was a museum. Exhibit. You're going to school tomorrow, Vivian said. I always go, I said. Vivian's eyes narrowed. Not like this, she said. She walked in, opened my closet, and looked unimpressed. These clothes look like a before photo, Vivian said. I didn't know what to say. Vivian snapped her fingers. Tomorrow you wear what I put out, Vivian said. And if someone touches you, you tell me. I started. Vivian's gaze pinned me. Don't protect people who hurt you, Vivian said. My lips parted. I wanted to say I'd tried before. I wanted to say adults didn't listen. I wanted to say teachers smiled and did nothing. I wanted to say my father had looked right through me like I was glass. Instead, I nodded. Yes, Mom. Vivian's eyes flickered. Like she heard something she didn't expect. She turned fast, like she was embarrassed. Good night, Vivian said. Good night, I whispered. The comments hovered in the dark even after she left. She's getting attached. That's dangerous. The plot hates that. The plot punishes that. Wait for school arc. That's where the heroine breaks. They were right about one thing. School was where I'd learned how to disappear. And school was where the world reminded me it could still hurt. The next day, Vivian laid out a simple outfit. Clean jeans. A soft sweater. Sneakers that actually fit. My hair was brushed. My nails were clean. I looked normal. In American high school, normal is a target. I walked into the hallway of Westbrook High, and heads turned. Not because I was beautiful. Because I looked different. Because I looked like someone had started caring. A girl's voice cut through the noise behind me. Evelyn. My spine tightened. Sabrina Klein. She'd been behind me for years. In class. At lunch. In every place where cruelty could be casual. She slammed her foot into the back of my ankle hard enough to make me stumble. I caught myself. I didn't turn around fast. I didn't show anger. I didn't show fear. I'd learned that. Sabrina's voice dropped low. Where's my summer packet? She said. My mouth went dry. It got thrown away, I whispered. Sabrina's laugh was small and sharp. Try again, she said. I did it. I said. I swear. I just. Sabrina kicked my calf. After school. Sabrina said. Bathroom by the old gym. I swallowed. Yes. In class, the teacher called my name. No packet, she said with a fake disappointed sigh. I stared at my desk. Sabrina smiled like an angel. After the bell. I tried to take a different route. I tried. Sabrina's friends caught me anyway. They herded me like a joke. Old gym. Back hallway. Broken bathroom door. No cameras. No witnesses. No help. The air smelled like rust and mold and old humiliation. Sabrina shoved me into a stall. You think you're better now, Sabrina said. You think new clothes make you a person. I shook my head. No. Sabrina grabbed my sweater and yanked me forward. Then act like it, Sabrina said. The first hit landed in my ribs. Then another. Then a knee to my stomach that made stars burst behind my eyes. I curled inward. I didn't fight back. Not because I couldn't. Because I still believed, deep down, that if I fought back it would get worse. It always had. Sabrina's voice was in my ear, sweet and poisonous. No one's coming, she whispered. Nobody ever comes. The comments screamed. This is the breaking point. This is where she becomes the tragic heroine. This is where she learns helplessness. Wait for the rescue scene. Where is the male lead? I tasted blood. And then the door creaked. Footsteps. My body tensed. Sabrina's friends froze. I lifted my head. And there she was. Vivian. She stood in the doorway like she'd been summoned by rage itself. Her eyes swept the room once. Took in my bent posture. My torn sweater. My mouth bleeding. My breath shaking. She didn't scream. She didn't gasp. She didn't ask what happened. Vivian spoke in a voice so quiet it was worse than yelling. "Which one of you?" Vivian said. "Put your hands on my daughter." Sabrina's face strained. We were just, Sabrina started. Vivian took one step forward. Sabrina backed up without thinking. Vivian's smile was razor thin. "Just what?" Vivian said. "Bonding?" One of Sabrina's friends tried to slip past her. Vivian didn't move, but suddenly a man appeared behind her. Security. Not school security. Vivian's security. A big guy in a suit with an earpiece, looking like the kind of person who didn't need permission to ruin your day. Vivian turned her head slightly. "Call my attorney," Vivian said. Sabrina's mouth fell open. "You can't," Sabrina choked. "This is school." Vivian stared at her. "This is my child," Vivian said. "And you just made it my business." I swallowed hard. "Mom," I started, because fear still lived in me like a reflex. "It's fine. It was just." Vivian's eyes snapped to mine. "Don't lie to protect them," Vivian said. My lungs seized. Vivian moved closer to me. She lifted my chin gently, inspecting the bruise forming under my jaw like she was assessing damage on something precious. Her voice stayed calm, but her hands were shaking. "I asked you to tell me if someone touched you," Vivian said. I couldn't breathe. "I didn't want you to," I whispered. Vivian cut me off. "You didn't want me to." "What?" Vivian said. "Be your mother?" The question hit me so hard my eyes burned. I shook my head fast. "No," I whispered. "I didn't want you to send me away." Vivian went still. Then she leaned in close enough that only I could hear her. "If you ever think I'm sending you away," Vivian said, "you tell me." I nodded. "I promise." Vivian straightened. She looked back at Sabrina and her friends. Her voice returned to that calm, lethal tone. "You're going to stand right there," Vivian said, "until the police arrive." Sabrina panicked. "We didn't do anything." Sabrina yelled. "She's lying. She's always." Vivian lifted her phone. "I love when people say that," Vivian said. "It makes evidence more satisfying." The security guard stepped in and blocked the door. Sabrina started crying. One of her friends started hyperventilating. Vivian didn't care. She looked at them like they were stains she planned to bleach. The comments in my vision spun wildly. "Wait, where's the male lead rescue? This is not the canon event. The stepmother is stealing the hero moment. Plot deviation detected. This is going to trigger backlash." Vivian turned to me. "Again. Can you walk?" Vivian said. I nodded, even though pain flared through my side. Vivian held out her hand. Not hesitantly. Not cautiously. Like it was a fact. I took it. Her grip was firm, warm, real. We walked out of that bathroom together. And in that hallway, for the first time in my life, I watched people get out of my way. Not because they respected me. Because they feared what I was attached to. Outside the school, Vivian didn't ask if I wanted to go home. She opened the car door. "Get in," Vivian said. I climbed in, shaking. She got in beside me, shut the door, and stared forward for a long moment. Then she spoke, like she was talking to herself. "They had 2 years," Vivian said. 2 years to stop this." I swallowed. No one cared. I whispered. Vivian turned her head slowly. Her eyes were dark. "I care," Vivian said. My throat tightened. "I know." Vivian's phone rang. She answered. Instantly. "Yeah," Vivian said. "Run the school's camera coverage, subpoena whatever they lost, and pull every complaint filed in the last 5 years. She listened. Then her mouth curved in. Something that was not a smile. "Oh," Vivian said. "Her dad's connected." She paused, then said it like a promise. "Perfect." She hung up. I stared at her. "What are you going to do?" I whispered. Vivian looked at me like I was asking what time it was. "I'm going to make them regret having a name," Vivian said. The comments flashed again, brighter than before. "This is the media arc. This is the lawsuit arc. This is the villain origin story. No, this is the heroine becoming the weapon. Plot is going to fight back." Vivian leaned back in her seat. She exhaled once. Then she looked at me. Evelyn. Vivian said. Yes. If you ever get hurt again. Vivian said. And I find out you hid it. I tensed. Vivian's voice stayed level. I will move you to a different school the next day. Vivian said. Not because you're in trouble. Because I refuse to raise my daughter in a place that enjoys hurting her. My eyes burned. That's not sending me away. I whispered. Vivian's gaze softened by a millimeter. No, Vivian said. That's me keeping you. I pressed my lips together. Okay. Vivian stared out the window. Then, like she couldn't help herself, she added, quieter. And stop calling me when you're scared and then pretending you're not. I blinked. I don't. Vivian cut me off. I can hear your breathing, Vivian said. I'm not stupid. My chest tightened. Yes, Mom. Vivian nodded once. And the moment she nodded, I knew something in the world had shifted. Because she wasn't acting. She wasn't tolerating me. She was claiming me. And that was going to cost someone. Maybe me. Maybe her. Maybe whoever thought they could write the script of my life and keep the ending the same. The car turned onto the highway. Vivian's phone lit up again. A text popped onto her screen. She didn't show me, but her eyes flickered. She spoke into the air like she was speaking to the invisible comments too. You want a story? Vivian said. I'll give you a story. She looked at me. Tonight, we're going public. Vivian said. My stomach dropped. What does that mean? Vivian's smile returned, sharp and controlled. It means, Vivian said. They're about to learn what happens when a woman like me decides she's done being quiet. And, somewhere deep in my vision, like the system itself was holding its breath, the comments went silent for the first time. As if even they didn't know what came next. As if even they were afraid of her. As if the script had just torn. And the real story was finally starting. The first headline went live at 9:47 that night. Local heiress accuses Westbrook High of systemic abuse. Vivian didn't ask for my permission. She didn't warn me. She didn't soften the blow. She sat across from me at the kitchen island, laptop open, hair pulled back, blazer gone, sleeves rolled up. Like she was about to dissect someone alive. Drink this, Vivian said. She slid a mug toward me. What is it? I asked. Something warm so you don't shake on camera. Vivian said. You're not sick. You're angry. Don't confuse the two. I wrapped my hands around the mug. My phone vibrated nonstop on the counter. Unknown numbers. School emails. Texts from classmates who had never spoken to me before. I didn't open any of them. Do I have to talk? I asked. Vivian didn't look up. No, she said. You just have to exist. The screen showed my face from the school hallway earlier. The torn sweater. The bruise blooming under my jaw. Vivian had chosen the still frame carefully. People don't argue with pictures, Vivian said. They argue with girls. The doorbell rang. Then again. Then again. Vivian closed the laptop calmly. Showtime, she said. She opened the door. Cameras flooded the driveway like insects drawn to blood. Reporters shouted questions over each other. Ms. Carter, is it true your daughter? Ms. Carter, did you threaten the school? Ms. Carter, are you planning to sue? Vivian raised one hand. Silence rippled outward. My daughter was assaulted on school property. Vivian said evenly. Repeatedly. For years. I stood behind her. Not hiding. Not speaking. Just standing. They knew. Vivian continued. They documented it. They dismissed it. They protected donors instead of children. A reporter tried to interrupt. Vivian looked straight at him. You can talk after I finish, she said. Or you can leave. No one spoke. I am not asking for sympathy, Vivian said. I am demanding accountability. She turned slightly, enough for the cameras to catch me clearly. This is Evelyn, Vivian said. She is not fragile. She is not confused. And she is not lying. I felt my lungs tighten. Vivian's hand came back, resting briefly on my shoulder. Firm. Present. She is my daughter, Vivian said. And this stops tonight. Flashbulbs exploded. Inside my head, the comments tried to come back. This is too much. She's overreaching. The system will push back. Wait for the backlash arc. Wait for. They cut off mid-sentence. Like a radio losing signal. Inside the house, Vivian's phone rang again. She listened. Once. Then smiled. They're panicking. Vivian said. Who? I asked. The school board. Vivian said. And Sabrina's father. I stiffened. Vivian noticed. He's trying to spin it. Vivian said. Pulling favors. Calling in debts. She leaned closer to me. That's cute. Vivian said softly. That means he still thinks this is a negotiation. The next morning, Westbrook High canceled classes due to unforeseen circumstances. By noon, 3 administrators resigned. By evening, a civil suit was filed. Not by me. By Vivian. In my name. I sat on the couch, knees tucked to my chest. Watching the news cycle eat itself alive. A commentator said my name wrong. Another called Vivian emotionless. A third called her dangerous. Vivian snorted. They always say that when a woman refuses to cry, she said. My phone buzzed. A message from Sabrina. I stared at it for a long time. Then I opened it. Please tell your mom to stop. My dad says this is going too far. I didn't mean it like this. I showed Vivian. She didn't take the phone. She didn't touch it. She just said, block her. I hesitated. She's scared. I said. Vivian's eyes cut to mine. So were you. Vivian said. I blocked Sabrina. The suit cracked open everything. Old complaints surfaced. Videos appeared. Teachers testified. Parents panicked. Westbrook High became a case study in how power rots quietly until someone rips the walls down. Through it all, Vivian didn't waver. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't posture. She moved like someone cleaning a mess that offended her. One night, weeks later, I found her on the balcony, city lights reflecting off her glass of whiskey. Why are you really doing this? I asked. She didn't turn around. Because no one did it for me. Vivian said. She was quiet for a moment. My first husband didn't die because I was cursed, she said. He died because he was sloppy. And cruel. And surrounded himself with people who thought consequences were optional. I swallowed. They blamed me. Vivian said. They always do. She finally looked at me. I married your father because he didn't ask me to be smaller. Vivian said. He wasn't good at being a parent. But he never tried to cage me. Her mouth tightened. I didn't plan on keeping you. Vivian said. At first. My chest clenched. But then you called me mom, she continued. And you stayed. She exhaled. And once I keep something. Vivian said. I don't let it go. The lawsuit ended quietly. Too quietly. Settlements. Donations. Policy changes. Sabrina transferred schools. Her father resigned from his board positions. Westbrook High rebranded. None of it brought me satisfaction. What changed everything happened later. At college. I was walking across campus when the comments returned. Faint. Confused. She wasn't supposed to be here. This was the wrong branch. The heroine should have ended up softer. Where is the male lead? I stopped walking. A boy bumped into me. Sorry, he said. I looked up. He was handsome. Easy smile. Familiar in a way that felt manufactured. The comments surged. There he is. The designated one. The story can still recover. Say something. I felt a strange calm settle over me. I smiled. Don't worry about it. I said. He hesitated. Do I know you? He asked. No, I said. And I don't think we're supposed to. The comments flickered. Error. Deviation. Correct course. I pulled out my phone. I called Vivian. Hey, I said. Yes, she replied immediately. There's a guy here. I said. The kind you warned me about. Vivian paused. Then laughed. Does he think he's special? Vivian asked. Yes. I said. Good. Vivian said. Walk away. I did. Behind me, the comments screamed. This breaks continuity. This invalidates the arc. You can't just refuse. I kept walking. Halfway across the quad, they disappeared. Completely. No static. No echoes. Just silence. I stopped. I waited. Nothing came back. I felt lighter than I ever had. That night, I told Vivian. They're gone. I said. Vivian didn't ask who. She poured herself a drink. Good, she said. I was getting tired of sharing you. I laughed. It surprised both of us. Years later, people would still talk about Vivian Carter. They'd say she was ruthless. They'd say she destroyed institutions. They'd say she was dangerous. I'd listen. I'd smile. Because I knew the truth. She didn't save me. She didn't soften me. She didn't rewrite my life. She tore the script apart and handed me the pen. And for the first time, the story belonged to me.